Hey, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to look at the 2 to 4 player game Cloud City, published by Blue Orange Games. So let's go ahead down to the table. I'm going to give you a general overview of how the game's played, and then we're going to come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so this is Cloud City, and this is what comes in the game box. You got your different towers of different colors. So you got your brown towers that are tallest, you got your green towers, and you got your blue towers. And in there you also have a ton of tile pieces, which we'll go over in a second, and you have the color matching walkways between each of the towers, and you have your greens, your browns, and your blues. Okay, so this is going to be a general setup for the beginning of the game. You're going to have your tile draw pile here, and you're going to have 3 tiles out. Now what's going to happen is you're going to pick the starting player, and they're going to get the first tile. So you can tell that it's really hard to see, but you can see like there's one little bird right there. And if you look at this tile, there's 3 little birds. So the first player will get this, and going in clockwise order, you'll give the rest of them out. This first player will get 2 blue towers. And you can notice the other starting tiles have different configurations on them. So this one gets a green and a brown. Sort of helps out a little bit on there. And once that's out, you're going to give 3 tiles to each player, and they're going to get to look at these and stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and start the game. The game itself is played in 8 rounds, starting with the first player and going clockwise. And once the 8th round is over, the game is ended and we're scored. So on a player's turn, you get to do the following actions in order. You can expand the base of your city. You can choose and place a building. Both of those are mandatory. You can build walkways. Now that is optional. And you can draw cloud tiles. Okay, so let's go over each of those. Okay, so one of the actions you can take is the first action you take is going to be expand your base. You're going to look at these cards, and you're going to select one, and you're going to place it. Now, there's a couple rules to placing. Your tiles must always be connected to another by at least one side. So they have to be like touching another tile. You cannot go past your grid size. So let's say right now we're going to have a 3x3 grid. So I wouldn't be able to place, let's push this up so you can see it a little better. I wouldn't be able to place a tile, say, here, because that would be past 3, so 3x3. You can rotate the tile any way you want, but once you place it, it's down. Once you place the tile, so let's just say, let's say I had this one here. I know this is a starting tile, but I'm just doing it for demo. Let's say I have this tile here. Then I need to place the matching color towers there. And then I can go, that is the step 2, place your mandatory buildings on there. So we already went through the 2 mandatory phases. Now we're going to go through the third step of your turn is optional. You can build walkways if you want. And this is basically how you're going to get points in the game. So this is important to be able to place these tiles properly to give yourself walks. Walkways will allow you to connect your buildings and win council votes. So that's the flavor to it. There are 3 types of walkways of each color. So what I actually suggest doing, which I didn't do, is you can separate out these tiles, because when you do run out of these, you don't get them anymore. And that's sort of where some of the interaction comes in the game, is other players are going to be grabbing these. So if I wanted to, I can now place a walkway here, because one walkway, because that'll actually fit between them. So that would, this one here effectively gives me 1 point. And if I was able to place this one here would give me 8 points. And then you have them for each of the colors. And the color has to match the tower. Now, you can build as many walkways as you want during your turn, as long as they're legally placed. You do have to follow some placement rules for placing these walkways. You can't build over an empty area. So if I did something like, I know this isn't right, but if I do something like this, and I'm going to try to connect across here, which there's some that could make that potentially, if this was lined up properly or whatever, this made it across there like that. I can't do that because I can't put it over an empty tile. So I can't go over an empty tile. You can't build a walkway if it crosses another walkway, so I can't put one on top of another. That's also illegal. You cannot build walkways diagonally. That won't really work on here unless you actually turn the building. So you can't build a walkway diagonally at all. And you can't build a walkway between two buildings of different heights. So I couldn't build a walkway like that. And the other rule is you can only have 2 walkways per building. So I can only use 2 of these connections per building. And then you just draw another Cloud City tile for the end of your turn. And at the end of 8 rounds, you just count up however many of these you were able to successfully put on there, and the person with the highest points wins. Now, there is a variant in the game that you can play. They recommend you can play after you play a couple games, and that's going to be these special request tiles. And what you're going to do is shuffle these up, and you're going to draw 2. And these ones are going to be placed out, and those will come into effect at the end of the game for scoring. So this one here gives you +2 points for every tower that you only have 1 connection on, and this one gives you -2 points for every connection that's under another connection. So like, I know this isn't legal at all, but if I had something like this and this one over top, this actually went over top of that road, then I would lose 2 points. I know there's not a tile there, so that's not really a legal placement, but that's the general idea. So these cards actually add a lot more to the game in the strategy end, and a lot more interaction with how you pick up these and when you want to pick up these. So you're going to be looking at your supplies of these connections based on what other players are going to do, and you're going to look at try to mitigating these point losses or and also trying to get the ones that give you more points. So it adds a little bit more depth to the game. Let's go head back to the table here, and I'll give you my final thoughts on Cloud City. Cloud City is an awesome game. This is probably going to become one of my more popular entry-level games. I'm really glad that this is going into our community game library. I think it's going to get a lot of people playing it. It's nice and light and easy to teach. Now, I would consider it a gateway game. So, if you like this sort of abstract games where you can get into the connections between the different towers, and you like sort of that 3D aspect on it, this game would be really great for you in general. But if you have people new to the hobby and you're looking for games that would be great to get them in, that have a lot of strategy to it, this would be a big game. Now, I would never play this game without the extra objective cards because they add a little bit more depth to the game. So I would recommend even teaching people how to play the game or getting them into the game that you include those just out of the box. Just have them in there. So Cloud City, I do recommend. It's a great abstract game. It's a great fun game. It's more on the light end, so if you're looking for heavier games, this wouldn't be it, but great for the gateway, great for the light, plays very quickly, just a lot of great things about this game. So that was Cloud City.